First of all, welcome to all of you, and thank you for coming today, October 5th, 2024. I'm CJ Hirschfield, a volunteer supporter of the League of Women Voters of Oakland. We're pleased to have as partners today AAUW Oakland Piedmont Branch, Alameda County Bar Association, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority, Asian Immigrant Women Advocates, the Center for Elders Independence, Centro Legal de la Raza, East Bay Housing Organizations, National Coalition of 100 Black Women, Oakland Chinatown Coalition, the Oakland Violence Prevention Coalition, Piedmont Pines Neighborhood Association, and SPUR. The League of Women Voters is a trusted membership organization that encourages informed and active participation in government. This forum is presented by the education arm of the League, which does not endorse or oppose candidates or political parties, nor take positions on issues or ballot measures. Let me talk a little bit about the logistics today. Today's candidate forums are being televised by KTOP, Oakland's cable access channel, and live streamed on the city's website, www.oaklandca.gov/OAKMTG. The forums are also being recorded and can be viewed later on the League of Women Voters of Oakland's website or on the YouTube channel. And the recording of this event is owned by the League of Women Voters of Oakland. Filming or recording these sessions by anyone other than KTOP is not permitted. This election season, we're hosting in-person candidate forums for 13 area races over 2 Saturdays. The first was on September 21st, and today is the final forum. We're glad you could join us. This session is for the position of Oakland City Council District 5. There will be 3 candidates listed on your November 5 ballot for this position. They are Aaron Armstrong, Noel Gallo, and Dominic Prado. The candidates participating today met the criteria for participation according to our protocols and ground rules, which you can find on the table outside for reference. Dominic Prado could not attend this forum today, and the moderator, that would be me. No, okay. So process, just real quickly for you so you'll know what we're doing. Here's the process. The speaking order has been randomly assigned. Each candidate will have 1.5 minutes for opening remarks and 1.5 minutes to respond to each question. If there is a lightning round, those answers will be limited to yes or no answers. The timekeeper will signal candidates when there are 30 seconds remaining and when to stop. As moderator, I may verbally give these prompts as well. There will be no separate rebuttals. However, the candidates may choose to use some or all of their 1.5 minutes to rebut the response given by another candidate. Following the questions, each candidate will have 1 minute for a closing statement in reverse order from opening statements. Questions for this forum have been prepared in advance by the League of Women Voters and/or our partners. We will also take questions from the audience. So if you'd like to ask a question, raise your hand, and one of our volunteers will give you an index card to write the question on. Please keep your questions succinct and directed to all the candidates, not individual candidates. We'll try to include as many of your questions as time allowed. And as my understanding is, we're moving this from 1 hour, because we only have 2 candidates, to a half hour, FYI. Before we begin, candidates, in order to be heard on KTOP's broadcast, you'll need to turn on your mic by pushing the on button in front of you and speaking directly into your microphone. When you're done speaking, please be sure to return your mic to the off position. Okay, so winning the draw for on first is Noel Gallo. And so would like to ask each of you to give a opening statement of 1.5 minutes.
Ready? Yes,
I
thank
am.
you, and I appreciate the invitation, and certainly I recognize and know most of you that are here today. I grew up here in the city of Oakland, raised 3 daughters and a son, came out of Oakland High School, Fremont High School, UC Berkeley, Stanford University, got their masters at throughout the UCLA and other universities throughout the state of California, and so it's an honor to be here with you, but I do want to recognize that one of my volunteers, every Saturday and Sunday at 6 in the morning, I have 10 volunteers that come out and help clean the neighborhood, whether it's illegal dumping, abandoned cars, trash, homeless sites, and I have one with me that's riding with me every Saturday and Sunday. that's here volunteering with me. And I just want to recognize him and give him thanks for joining us. He's in the early 80s, but he's out there cleaning the streets, and that's what I believe. It's not about what we say, it's what we do to make a difference in the city. And certainly, you know, I know I got 30 seconds left, but I also want to recognize I have 20 other volunteers that are waiting for me over on Fruitville Avenue that join me. Students join me once a month out of every school to make sure we get back to the citizenship and give back to the neighborhood and appreciate where we are and who we represent. But thank you for the opportunity, and I'll get into the issues at the next go-around. Thank you. I see my sign. Thank you.
Thank you. Aaron Armstrong.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Aaron Armstrong. My wife and I moved to Oakland 15 years ago, and we immediately fell in love with this city. We started putting down roots, and today I'm so proud that we're raising our 3-year-old daughter here. Hi, Chili. But I'll be honest. I wouldn't be running right now for city council if I felt that things were going well in District 5. For the last 32 years, the incumbent, Noel Gallo, has been in office, and for the last 12, he's been on the city council. And in that time, our streets have gotten filthier and our neighborhoods less safe. Have you ever tried to call his office? He doesn't pick up the phone. They don't return the calls. They don't return your emails. And I believe that District 5 deserves better. I've knocked on over 4,000 doors this campaign. I've talked to hundreds and hundreds of residents and businesses and nonprofits and community groups, you name it. And they have all told me the same thing. They are hungry for a representative who will fight for them, who's going to pick up the phone and return your calls, who's going to tackle the root causes of the problems we face, not just tinker around the edges. And for the last 8 years, that's exactly what I've done. As the Senior Policy Advisor for Alameda County Supervisor Nate Miley, I lead the Alameda County Illegal Dumping Task Force that has developed scalable solutions that prevent illegal dumping, have removed over 500 tons of illegal dumping, and have held hundreds of people accountable using programs that the City of Oakland is now trying to replicate. These are the solutions that we need to tackle our problems.
Thank you. So let's go to the first question. Mr. Gallo, what is the most impactful talent or experience you would bring to the city council role?
You know, I have, regardless of what is being said, I disagree with. And certainly if you're in the neighborhood, you'll see what we've been able to accomplish in my District 5 today. From the business community, we're growing, we're repaving all the streets. And one of the responsibilities I have is my mainness is not only in my neighborhood, it's around the schools. Because I strongly believe in the children and families of this city, because that's who helped me in my schools. And certainly that's a priority. But for someone to get up here and say we don't do anything or answer the phone call, it's a complete false statement. Because we do respond. I am out there. I never seen them out in my neighborhood do anything. So for me, as the issue is public safety, and certainly I'm one that brought the macro program to the city from Oregon to make sure that not the police, but then the macro working under the fire department can assist those that are on our sidewalks that are coming today. And I'm out there 6 in the morning and I see who shows up from San Francisco and other parts of the country. The macro and also the police commission and many other public safety entities, including public ethics that I brought to the city. And I know I don't have much time to.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Armstrong, again, the question, most impactful talent or experience you'd bring to the council.
Thank you so much. So as I mentioned, I lead the Alameda County Illegal Dumping Task Force. And for the last 4 years, since 2018, so I guess 6 years now, we have developed scalable, replicatable strategies that can prevent illegal dumping, that can remove it at scale. This isn't me out there removing 500 tons of illegal dumping. It's me creating the systems and empowering the local businesses and neighbors so that they can get the job done quickly and effectively. These are the types of solutions that we need that can be scaled up, not just in District 5, but throughout the entire city, because the scales of the problems that we're facing in the city of Oakland, whether it's illegal dumping, whether it's public safety, we can't keep tinkering around the edges, and we can't keep doing the same thing and expecting different results. When I chaired the BART Police Citizen Review Board, I championed policies that not only reduce the cost of our public safety, but improve the response times. So it costs less and the officers showed up faster. These are the types of replicatable, scalable strategies that are necessary to tackle the problems we're facing in the city of Oakland at the scales at which we are facing them. This is the future I'm trying to build, but I can't do it alone. That's why I'm asking all of you today to join me in building this future together.
Thank you. Second question will begin with you, Ms. Armstrong. What would you do to promote trust and faith in public officials and in the power of city government to deliver services and improve quality of life? Yes.
Thank you so much for this question. To me, this is all about community empowerment. Community empowerment needs to start at the block level. This is neighbors, knowing who lives down the street from you, being connected so that when something happens on your block, you know who to talk to, you know who to call. From there, we need to build up to our neighborhood councils. So all of our block leaders, everyone who's connected there can connect to the neighborhood. And we need to empower those neighborhood councils. We need to make sure that we have chairs in there that can get the job done, that can bring together the community and advocate for change. And all of that needs to feed up into the district level. This is the type of community organizing that I've been doing as part of this campaign. As I've mentioned, I personally have knocked on over 4,000 doors. I've had over 500 conversations with residents. This is how you build trust, one door at a time. One conversation at a time. That's how we make a difference and rebuild trust in our elected officials here in the city of Oakland. More than that, I believe in effective civilian oversight. That's why I sat on the BART Police Citizen Review Board for 8 years. That's why I was its chair and its vice chair, because I believe in civilian oversight of our public agencies, especially when it comes to police, but also to organizations like City Council. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. Gallo, same question about promoting trust and faith.
Well, it's not about what we say, it's what we do. And we as citizens growing up here in the city of Oakland, there was a time that, you were responsible for in front of your home, to making sure in the front of your business, to making sure it stayed clean and safe. And so one of the things that we're trying to do, and that's why I have a good number of volunteers coming out that live here, that grew up here in this city. And certainly growing up in Oakland, we knew what violence was all about. And some of us were part of that. But at the end of the day, how do we get our community back in order? Look in front of City Hall. You got a lot of administrators, a lot of staff members, and a lot of people just talk. I can make all the laws in the world. I already have enough laws. I need to implement them. But at the end of the day, each one of us that live here need to take responsibility to make sure they're implemented and we enforce them. And so for me, it's very clear that I can get people here, write laws all day long, tell you what to do and how to do it, but I never see them on the street doing it. And so for me, it's very clear that we as a community, we as a mom and dad, everything begins and ends at home, and we need to take responsibility for our children, our families, and certainly work together to make Oakland a better place like it used to be. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Armstrong, here's a question about the budget. Do city council members have a conflict of interest given that they participate in negotiations for city workers' compensation and also receive contributions for their campaigns from these workers' unions?
Thank you for the question. I do believe that there can be conflicts of interest in building the budget and in receiving contributions. That's why in my campaign I've refused to receive any contributions from oil and gas companies that might push me to promote policies that would be negatively impact climate change. That's why I don't accept any money from the police unions or lobbyists or any of those other organizations. In fact, I've received over 120 individual donations. The bulk of my campaign has come from people in Oakland, $50 at a time. If you look at the contributions that Noah Gallo has, his average donation is $450. I have four times the number of donors that he has from the city of Oakland, and that's exactly what this is about. But more than that, I really want to talk about the budget, because this has been a failure of the city of Oakland and of the city council for many years now. Back during the pandemic, we received the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA funding, and the city council used that money to fill a one-time budget deficit. This was money that was meant to recover from the pandemic that could have been invested in community, and they put it as a one-time solution to a systemic problem. And now, 2 years later, we're having to sell the Coliseum to fill that same gap because our city council has failed to promote a budget that works. What are we going to do in 2 more years if the city council continues to fail?
Thank you.
And I did leave a flyer in front of one of the tables out there that clearly tells you some of the endorsements that I have. And these are neighborhood people that live here for a lifetime, not just organization, individuals, and that's why I'm running for re-election. So if you look through, it's out in front, you can see our goals, but you also see the individuals, the groups, and the organizations that have endorsed our candidacy and encouraged me to continue based on the experience. When it comes to the budget, certainly I have many disagreements with my city colleagues and the mayor. And, you know, I've been behind closed doors trying to negotiate due to the fact I'm still holding the Coliseum issue at hand. It's still not very clear. It's not in writing. What are the financial terms? The Coliseum is public land. It's surplus land that belongs to the people. And the law is very clear about surplus land that you can lease it, but you can't sell it. And you got to have those arrangements. But the city council, the mayor is finally going to present that to the council in closed session in terms of the terms and the financial commitments and the liabilities to the city that we currently have today. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I want to take a question from the audience now. Let's start with Mr. Gallo. Our Office of Ethics and Ethics Commission don't seem to be adequately funded. What is their budget and what should it be?
Currently, there was a request by the Public Ethics Commission to have 2 staff persons. And secondly, there's also before the council that came this week, and it's in closed session in terms of the democracy dollars to be able to elevate that number. And I'm not supporting of that action because, you know, we got 34, 5 days left in the election. And we already are going through the process. Maybe in the following election, we can reconsider elevating the democracy dollars. But when it comes to the 2 additional positions that are being requested, I am not ready to do this at that point because I need to balance a budget. And what the council and what the mayor and the administration and finance is presenting, I don't support it. I don't have a full picture. And that's what we're having a closed session debates right now to get the accurate numbers, so I don't have to, so I cannot go bankrupt and be able to make other adjustments, whether it's reductions in benefits, reduction in staffing positions, but at least I will have the opportunity to have a balanced budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Armstrong, same question, ethics, how would you fund it?
Thank you very much. I didn't realize that we could bring campaign material up here. I thought that was against the rules. So for the Ethics Commission, this is one of the most important commissions that we have because it's what builds the public trust that we have between the citizens and our elected officials. I'm not going to balance the budget by cutting into our ethics department. That's a no-go for me. 2 additional staff, that's pennies compared to the city budget, and it's pennies compared to the deficits we face. There are much more systemic and real problems that we face when it comes to the budget that need to be addressed. And I think penny pinching when it comes to ethics and public trust, especially at a time right now when so many people don't trust their elected officials, feel disconnected from the process, and feel that there's corruption at City Hall, this is not the time to go into closed session and start squabbling over 2 positions that are necessary when it comes to public ethics and ensuring that the people of Oakland can have trust in their elected officials. Thank you.
Thank you. Here's another question from our audience, and I'll start with you, Ms. Armstrong. What is one public safety policy or program proposal you have that does not require new funding?
This is a really exciting question because we have the macro teams here in Oakland, which are modeled after a county program that we started in Alameda County, and it's such an incredible program, but it's limited in a few different ways. For example, right now, our macro teams, they're the ones who are going out. These are our non-police response. It's such a critical program because it's about using the right tool for the right job, and we don't always need a badge and a gun, especially in when somebody's having a mental health crisis. But right now, our macro teams, when somebody is actually having a mental health crisis, when they would need to be 5150, which is temporarily conserved for their own safety or for the safety of others, they have to call in a police officer to do that. Our macro teams don't have the ability to 5150 somebody on their own. They have to call in a badge and a gun. And that's exactly the wrong time to call in a police officer to this type of situation. So one, I want to empower our macro teams to actually be able to address these issues in a holistic way and to complete the pipeline from somebody who's having a crisis on our streets to making sure that they are well and getting the care that they need. That's one policy that we can do that's actually going to not only cost money, not only not cost money, it's going to save money and allow our police officers to respond faster.
Thank you, Mr. Gallo.
Yes, for the record, I just want to state that I was one of the council members that established the Public Ethics Commission, brought it to the city, and helped create the Public Ethics Commission. And so I believe in many of the things that we're doing. By getting back to the public safety issue, certainly I want to increase our police department, sworn officers in this city. When I was managing Public Safety Committee, we had 740 officers budgeted every year. And now, considering where the budget is today, you're going to hear this coming week that we're going to maybe bring it down to 600. And where at one time growing up, we had 810 officers here that helped us, calm our streets down and change some of our attitudes that living here in the city of Oakland. So for me, it's the other avenue that I'm working very strongly, and that's why I set aside money, is to deal with our daily ambassadors on our streets. I supported $300,000, and a good number is going to go to the Fruitvale area so they can patrol. They're homegrown. They understand what the issues are. They know how to talk to me and how to talk to some of us that are creating some of the difficulties. And so I'm a big supporter not only of having more sworn officers, but the ambassadors that are daily and nightly on our streets. Thank you.
Thank you. So I think it's time for our last question, and again, it will come from the audience. And let's go to Mr. Gallo first. How do you plan to communicate what you think and do out to your constituents? How will you reach out to us?
Well, one is, for me, I'm out there daily. I'm not sitting here writing, talking about it. There should be this way, that way. I'm out there with my volunteers that are homegrown, that are in the neighborhood coming out. And so if you want to join me, and there's some of the media, if you want to join me, come get in my city truck at 6 in the morning, and you're going to be surprised what you see in the mornings. But we clean it up, we pick it up, whether it's an abandoned car, stolen car, or someone laying on the sidewalks where they shouldn't be. And also the priority is I'm dealing with my schools. I did serve on the Board of Education, but I want to make sure that mom and dad can have their children walk to school, walk back home like I used to be able to do. And so I want to make sure that around our schools is clean and safe. And but at the end of the day, it's really about a safe community, a clean community, and make sure that our business community stays in Oakland, because at the end of the day, that's where I receive my tax dollars to provide services. And my businesses, they want a safe, clean environment, and that's what we're trying to deliver with the neighbors and the schools as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Armstrong, communication.
Yeah, I believe the question was about how we communicate with our constituents, correct?
Yes.
Thank you very much. So as I mentioned, I've knocked on over 4,000 doors, and I've had hundreds of conversations, not just with the residents, but with the local businesses, the nonprofits, the community groups. I can't tell you the number of people that I've talked to at their door that have told me nobody's come to their door from city council since Jean Kwan represented the area, or the last person to come and knock on my door was Ignacio. I haven't talked to one person who said that Noel Gallo came and knocked on their door. And I've knocked on over 4,000 doors in the district. This is how we communicate. It's directly. It's one-on-one. And this is how we build a safe community. It's by building those connections, as I mentioned earlier, starting at the block level by understanding who's in charge of the block, who's lived here for how long, and how are they connected with their neighbors. That means showing up at our neighborhood council meetings and actually showing up and having a conversation and hearing from the neighborhoods. This needs to be a two-way street, because not only is this how me as a city council member is going to be informed about the needs and desires of my constituents by having it feed up all the way from the block level, it's also how I'm going to make sure that they have a seat at the table when it comes to policy making, because I'm connected to the community and I can make sure when something is coming up at City Hall that's going to impact my communities, that they have a seat at the table, that they know how to show up, and that I'm empowering them to do that.
Thank you. So now the candidates will make closing statements. We'll reverse the order that we began in. So we will start with Ms. Armstrong, and this would be for 1 minute. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. As I mentioned, I've knocked on over 4,000 doors. I've talked to hundreds of people, and they are hungry for change in this district. They're hungry for a representative who's going to fight for them, who's going to tackle the root causes of the problems that we face, not just tinker around the edges, and who's going to pick up the phone and respond when they have a problem. For the last 8 years, I've been the senior policy advisor for Supervisor Nate Miley. This is what I've done. I've created systemic solutions that have addressed housing, affordable housing, homelessness, that have prevented homelessness. And as the BART Police Citizen Review Board, as the chair, I fought for public safety solutions that improve the response of our public safety system while reducing the cost. These are the types of systemic, scalable changes that are necessary to tackle the problems we face at the scale we are facing them in the city of Oakland. We cannot continue to tinker around the edges. We can't keep doing the same thing and expect different results. This is the future that I'm trying to build. I can't do it alone, and I hope you'll join me in making this vision a reality.
Thank you. Mr. Gallo.
Yes, we have to, be direct and honest with people. When she talks about the BART police, the Fruitvale BART station, when I got elected, at the heaviest robbery location in the city. It wasn't the BART police because they wouldn't show up. And the only thing they want to do is monitor right inside the BART. And it was our police department that set up, and thanks to the highway patrol that I'm very close with, that send officers down to make sure that if you left your car at BART, that it was safe and clean when you returned to pick up your car. And it wasn't the BART police that's doing that. So the reality is not only having the knowledge, the experience, but the reality what exists there. And having grown up in Oakland, clearly I understand and know what needs to get done, but I need everyone's help to do it. And don't just sit at City Hall talking about it and making more rules and laws, because that's not going to change my behavior. And certainly the people that I have in East Oakland, growing up in it, we're going to have to be able to offer a job, an opportunity, and make sure that our schools do not have a 50% absenteeism, because if I'm not in school, where am I? I'm out on the street. So we need to get back to working together. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you both. On behalf of the League of Women Voters of Oakland and our community partners, I want to thank the candidates for their participation today. We also want to thank the audience for coming to meet the candidates and posing thoughtful questions. This forum will be rebroadcast on KTOP, Oakland's government access cable channel. The recordings will be posted on the League of Women Voters of Oakland's website, lwvoakland.org/decide, and our YouTube channel. The League's website really is your one-stop shop to help you vote. You'll find dates of other forums, candidate profiles, summaries of ballot measures, pros and cons, and Vote 411 with personalized information about what will be on your specific ballot and the location of your polling place. If you'd like to get involved with helping make democracy work for everyone, it's easy to join the League. Visit www.lwvoakland.org, and thank you all very much for being here. Appreciate it.
I submitted a card, and I guess you didn't get it.
We had a